What is up, YouTube? So today I'm going to be getting back into our coaching slash teaching cycle or whatever. No longer going to be updating Smite Junkies. If you don't know what that is, then it doesn't matter. If you do know what Smite Junkies is, I was posting builds on there. I was trying to keep them pretty up to date. I was always a little bit behind because it would always take priority over pretty much nothing. So everything else came before it. But now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to do videos on each jungle god. We're going to talk about the builds, we're going to talk about the good and the bad matchups, and kind of what they excel at, and then if certain rotations on abilities is kind of important, I'm going to mention that too. So basically, just updating you guys knowing Smite Junkies pretty much going to die, and my YouTube channel is going to basically double on videos, and there's just be a lot more going on. Hopefully going to do 2, 3, or 4 of these a week, depending on how my week's going. I finish school on next Thursday or this Thursday, so from when I'm making this video, I have 4 days left until I'm done with school forever, which means when I'm done with school forever, everyone's asking me, are you going to go get a job, this and that. Streaming, YouTube, competitive play, that's my job. That's what I do, by far, like what I want to do. So I'm just going to stream more, going to create more content for YouTube, hopefully some YouTube. I will be creating YouTube specific content. Obviously, we're doing this. But with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. A lot of people have been asking about Mercury, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Mercury as our first god. Pretty much, he's gone through the most recent change, so that's why I feel like I'll address him first, pretty much. That's simple. So my build currently on Mercury, Warrior Tabby, my items change very drastically depending on how the game is going. As long as I am even or ahead, meaning I haven't died early game or some shit hasn't gone wrong, I'm going Wind Demon first item. After Wind Demon, I am going into Deathbringer. After Deathbringer, I am going into Malice. After Malice, I am going into Aussie. And after Aussie, I am going into a penetration item, which is usually going to be Titan's Bane. Now, you can see the build. I have it laid out in front of you. Let me scroll up a little bit here, and I just want to be able to show you basically what the idea behind the build is. So you're starting out with Warrior Tabby, pretty basic, standard build. Mercury's playstyle is not, I'm going to get in your face and auto attack you 100 times. This isn't Kali. This isn't motherfucking Arachne. Mercury is a poke god, and then you go in when the right opportunity comes up. So with Wind Demon, it allows you to get the crit online. See, now this can change, by the way. This is preference for me. Wind Demon's the cheapest crit item. That's actually a good crit item instead of Poison Star or whatever. So I'm going Wind Demon early mainly because it's cheaper. You get it online faster, you get more crit online, you get more power online. As you can see, it's 40 power, 20 crit. So it just gives you the chance that your one will crit more often. And then when you do finally enter a fight or go into a fight, you can get some auto attacks off, a couple more because you get the movement speed when you crit. So that's the idea behind Wind Demon for me. Deathbringer second, because once again, you're not sitting there auto attacking 5,000 times. You're looking to poke with your one. You're looking for your team to poke, and then you're looking for perfect engagements either with your ult or off of your poke, off of sprints, whatever. So with Deathbringer, you're getting bigger crits. You're getting bigger poke. It allows you, instead of having to hit your one twice, if you just hit it with one crit and you crit them for fucking 500, you could go in off of that. You already have an advantage, and it's a huge advantage. Most people don't realize like that is the perfect playstyle for Mercury. You're looking to poke. You're never looking to be right in someone's face early game. Now, Malice just adds on to this playstyle even more Malice. When you crit somebody, you put a dot on them and do more damage. So this just adds to the poke. Your one hits harder and harder and harder. So as you can see, the idea behind my playstyle and the way I think Mercury is the only way it can be played at a high level is you're throwing your one out. You're keeping distance other than when it's safe. Abilities are down, then you can dash in, pull somebody, throw them, burn beads, or kill them. Abilities are down, you can ult in. I like to save my ult for pretty much perfect engagements. They're really hard to find unless the other team lines up. But with Mercury not being played that much, people seem to make the mistake of grouping up in in corridors and stuff in the jungle, and it just makes for perfect Mercury ult. So, as you can see, first 4 items, you're just looking to crit and poke before you go into a fight. Now, you finish Aussie, and this is when you want to be in their face. You have boots. You have 3 crit items, one of them making you faster, one of them making you crit harder, and one of them making you poke more and do more dot damage, more damage in general. Then you add Aussie into it, not so much for the attack speed, it's more so for the penetration, because you don't have any yet, and for the passive. The passive, for me, this passive is the best 1v1 passive when you have crit. Mercury gets low, gets to, 25% approx, 35% approx. Your lifesteal is lifestealing for 3, 4, 5, 600. So you could 2 auto attack somebody and crit them, and then get a fuck ton of lifesteal off of it, and you're at full health and they're dead. It gets the swing is insane. This is the perfect item for Mercury for this style of play. As you can see, the style has changed as the game went on. These items are expensive. This is a super fucking expensive build, but it's worth it because Mercury, like I said, all you have to do is go off of the crits. With 1 crit item, you can get the crit you need to do what you need to do. So it's worth it to get these items. But the playstyle has changed. You went from boots, just playing normal play. First crit item, looking to poke. Second crit item, still looking to poke. Third crit item, looking to poke, and you're looking to engage off of your poke once you have Deathbringer Malice. And then you finish Aussie, and you're just looking to get in their face. You're looking to single somebody out. You're looking to ult through, get on the back line, and fucking kill somebody. Now, using your ult is going to be more key for you to get in someone's face. Using your ult to stop right next to somebody, hit them with the ult, and stop right on point is pretty much ideal. It takes some practice. Once you can get to that point, though, you'll ult in, you'll instantly turn around, you'll smack them in the face once or twice, and they die, or they use an active and run away, and you've already won the fight for your team. So early game, I'm going to recap. Well, we'll talk about Titan. Titan's Bane's pretty standard, right? You get more penetration because you really didn't have any until Aussie, and it's just a little bit of power. It allows you to push towers and everything else, Phoenixes, everything you need to do late game. Now, recap. Using your ult early game, you want to hit big ults and not waste it. You just want to be smart with your ult, take your time. Same with damage. You want to throw your ones out and poke people. You don't want to use your dash unless all the abilities are down and you're pretty safe. Someone's out of position, or you're using your dash to escape. And then mid to late game, you're looking for the ults to single out the squishies, the hunters, the other assassins. The mages are key. Mages are easiest for you to kill unless they have a lot of mobility, like Raijin or some shit. So that's what you're looking to do on Mercury. Pretty straightforward, right? I think so. I think it takes some practice, but it's really straightforward. Now with Mercury, you've got your bad matchups, you got your good matchups. Most of them are not so much the one-on-one matchups as they are the way the team fights are going to go or the way the early game is going to go. So I like Mercury into Thor. With Mercury into Thor, you can cancel out Thor's spin. The ult, you can ult his ult and immune it, or he throws his hammer, you can throw him off of that. You can ult off of his hammer. There's a lot of counterplay, but if you use your abilities first or incorrectly, the Thor can punish you. His wall can wall off your ult and just wreck you. He can poke you really hard if you're just letting him get off the stun hammer combos. That's what hammer combos. I don't know why I said hammer. I've been doing that on stream a lot. So anyway, Thor is a good and a bad matchup. It's one of those things that's kind of neutral depending on how you play. Now, I don't like Mercury into gods. Like Ratatasker can be kind of difficult if the Ratatasker plays correctly. There's another god. I don't know. I'm literally looking at the same thing as you. Oh, sorry. Nija can be kind of rough because of the early game, once again. And then Bastet can be kind of rough, mainly because of the mobility. So, Serket, I'm going to throw Serket in there. So, you've got Serket, Rat, Nija, and Bastet. For me, are matchups I personally do not like. For Serket, it's a lot of mobility and hard to keep up. Serket just jumps over the wall and Serket's out of the fight. A lot of insta-burst damage, so if you ever are in a fight or out of position, the Serket can get to you very simply, or very easily. Serket can also just blink on top of you if you are in the back, because Serket's job is kind of the same as yours, get to the backline and kill somebody. So if you are the backline on Mercury, you're looking for that long-range ult. Serket is simply going to blink on you, pop 2, you're probably going to beads the fight back, and if Serket ults at the proper time, you're pretty much not going to do anything with your beads. They're going to get wasted. And then Serket can either run away or just fight you depending on who landed autos and shit. Now, if you are playing Mercury versus Serket, you're looking to beads the 2 instantly and auto attack as fast as fucking possible because you can 2-shot Serket. So if you can get your auto attacks off before Serket can ult you and do some more damage, then you will win that 1v1. Ratatasker, kind of the same thing, but not exactly going to go the same way in terms of the one-on-one. Ratatasker is still going to do the team fighting, but Ratatasker's ult is gonna knock you up 90% of the time, right? If you dive to the backline, the rat is just gonna dunk on top of you. So it's once again, it's kind of like Thor, where you gotta wait out abilities, and you can it's like neutral, where you could win or the rat could win. But I don't like the idea that rat once again has a shit ton of mobility, has the lockdown on the stun and the knockup, and just has the counterplay of waiting out your ult. It can be kind of rough. Nija, different story. Nija is basically going to be early game based, and Mercury is not. So if you let the Nija snowball off the early game, which really a Nija should be able to do, you will lose as Mercury. Once again, there is some counterplay. It's just a little bit harder. If you can manage to beads the ult or juke the ult and play off of that, get throws, get your toss off, and put the ninja out of position, it's really easy to, well, it's not easy to expose. You have the opportunity to expose it. And then as the last one that I said is a very bad matchup in my eyes is Bastet. Super mobile, ranged poke. Kind of similar to Mercury. Ranged poke doesn't have to be in your face and do a fuck ton of damage. And that's what just screws you over. Now you have your 2 now that makes you immune to slows, which is awesome. But Bastet can still do a full rotation of abilities on you. Get you to fucking 20% health and then just walk away, come back and kill you later in the fight, or just chase you down, whichever one happens. I don't like the matchup of Bastet versus Mercury. It just doesn't feel good. It's probably one of the hardest ones to outplay a good Bastet player. Once again, Mercury can't go over walls, Bastet can, so easy escapes, ranged poke. Cats can be annoying. If you're good at body blocking in with cats, it'll fuck Mercury over. You'll have to use your dash, and then you're super just done, pretty much. Now, that's out of the assassin tree. Warrior-wise, Mercury should do fine against just about every warrior. None of them are too crazy. Robin is probably my least favorite to play. Robin can kite fairly easily, has the immunity, has the damage reduced on the ult. All the other warriors you should be fine with. Osiris, you can kind of just move away from him when he uses his tether. Just dash out, wait for your dash to come back out. You really shouldn't even be in a position to get tethered unless you're ganking anyway, meaning in team fights. Bellona can be super annoying with disarms. Once again, if you're sitting in the back, the Bellona should be going for the hunters, and you can just play off of that, not get disarmed while your hunter is disarmed. Now, Guardians. No Guardians I hate all that much. Geb sucks because you can't crit Geb super hard, but you can still fuck up Geb. You're still doing a decent amount of damage. You have counterplay to his rollout. You can toss him out of it, so he's not able to get to his immune phase. I'd say the only other Guardian, the one Guardian that's actually a bad matchup for Mercury or bad in team fights for Mercury is Sobek. Sobek dumpsters assassins when played correctly. The assassins that need to be in your face with the knock up, the peel, the fucking anti-heal, the slow on the ult, which doesn't affect Mercury as much, but it's still very annoying. And the fact that he's immune during that and can do a lot of damage, it is frustrating. But it's mainly the knockback. If Mercury ults into a fight and Sobek's right there with the pluck and the knockback, you just kind of get fucked. Same thing happens on Serket. Same thing happens on a lot of gods. You really just have to avoid the Sobek. You want the Sobek to be going on your backline when you engage on their backline. You do not want the Sobek in your face. It will be frustrating if you allow that to happen. Now, next to that, mages, all of them should be fairly easy for you. None of them are too difficult. You can dive every mage on this list. Nuwa can be frustrating if played properly, and Nuwa uses the minions to peel, but even then, you can kite around the minions. You can fucking still two-shot every single mage on here. I can't think of anyone I don't like to play against at all. Thoth, more so than anyone right now. Thoth has played every game in casuals and rank that I've been in. Thoth can't get away from you. Thoth has one dash. If you're Mercury, you ult into a fight, Thoth dashes, you dash into the Thoth and just auto-attack him twice, you're good. There's nothing they can do. You do well against Janus because Janus is slow, used to be the one thing that fucked up Mercury, and now you have immunity to slow. Same with Poseidon. The Whirlpool could be annoying, but you're immune to slow on the 2, and then you can just kind of run away if that person is Gem of Iso. Same with Ra, immune to slow. Same with Scylla, immune to slow. Scylla can be a little bit more difficult until Scylla ults. Scylla's ult is kind of the one thing that is actually good for Mercury, because in Scylla's ult, she's faster, but she's looking for the ult, and you just kind of auto-attack her twice, 3 times. She's dead. The matchup versus Ao Kuang is not bad. Like I said, there aren't too many crazy bad matchups when played properly. You just have to not get exposed in the early game, and you'll be fine. You'll be 100% fine against all the mages. Hunters, none of them are too big of an issue. I used to hate playing against Apollo and Anher. They were frustrating as fuck. Now they're not so bad. Anher, you're immune to the slow, and Apollo just isn't as potent as way back when Mercury was actually getting played all the time, so you don't have to deal with many Apollos. All the other hunters are going to be fine. Just don't waste your dash. 1v1ing, some of them can be difficult, like Izanami. Ul, if you don't have beads for whatever. Most of these you should win the 1v1s. It's just make sure you're not behind and make sure you don't waste your dash. That's pretty much key. So we've gone through assassins, warriors, guardians, mages, hunters. We've gone through everybody. Those are pretty much all your good and bad matchups. I'm going to be a little bit more specific on future guides for all these gods. But I mean, just a general understanding, those are the gods you need to either look out for in terms of you don't want to play against them, or in terms of how you play against them is different, or just gods you straight up dumpster. because you're fucking late game Mercury. It's just the way it works. So hopefully this guide helped you guys. Once again, this was a Mercury guide. I tried to talk about as much as possible. If there's anything else you want added, I can talk about abilities real quick. You're going to max your 1, you're going to max your ult, you're going to max your 2, you're going to max your 3 in that order. Your 1 is going to be a fuck ton of poke. I actually like to get my 1, my 3, my 1 again, and then my 2. I do the same thing on Neja, simply because you get more poke off, and it allows for the potential, if the other team fucks up, for you to get extra damage off, more poke, and actually maybe be able to fight. Your ult actually does a lot of damage, in my opinion. I mean, it's 200 base, but it goes up to 500. And because you're looking for the insta-kill, it works out fantastically. But your 1 is going to be your most important ability. You need to be able to hit it. You need to be able to get as much crit and poke off as possible. Your 2 is going to be great now because of the slow immunity. And then your ult, obviously, it's your ult. Your 3 is probably the most important ability you have out of all of them. But it's not important in terms of damage. It's more important in terms of utility, whether you're using it to escape or throw somebody or burn beads or whatever and not wasting it. If you're wasting it and using it wrong, you're going to die over and over and over again. It's just that simple. It puts you super out of position if you don't wait for the other team to fuck up or have abilities down, one or the other. And if their abilities are down, they are pretty much fucking up. So that's Mercury for you from start to finish. Gameplay, I've talked about it as much as I can. I have videos up of Mercury. Just go watch how I play. I've played Mercury the same since the God came out. I've pretty much had the same builds since the God came out. Pretty straightforward, and I hope you guys like the video.